Hmm. Hello? I'm back again. I mean, I'd assume so. I don't know why my internet keeps like disconnecting on me. Um, could be a problem on my end, but I'm not quite sure. To be honest, like, I think my internet's fine. Maybe it's just, my cable? Who knows? I'm not quite sure. Back pin. Yeah, hello. Hello, I am back. Sorry about the hiccup. Like 10 minutes in and that happens. I wonder why. Hmm. Is it the cables? That's not what I meant to do. Yes. Alright. Where do you guys last seen me? What was I talking about last night? Ooh.
Hey, you over there.
Oh?
You the one they sent? You gonna fix the security probs?
Security problem?
You heard the boss. Wait, why they sending Project Armstrong subjects to fix the security system?
What? You don't know me?
Chai, shut up and play along.
I'm here to fix the security thing. Yes, you gotta have those,
Nodes, man, not codes. Anyways, 3 rooms of them in here. Guess you might as well get on getting.
That elevator in front of you connects us to the lift, which takes us to Korsica's wing. Guess we got a job to do.
First node's across the elevator. You'll need to power that one up to access the other 2 up top.
Oh, okay.
Hard labor. Not my jam.
Just do it, Chai. You're gonna do one eventually in your life. I know it by Corsica. WD, what does that mean? Forward? Get a load of this. Talk about try hard. Email forward to Corsica. Remind you all employee about maintaining top security clearance. Did you know how easy it is to accidentally assume non-employee as one of our own? Just like earlier, okay. Follow these steps. Always ask for identification. We have ID badges for a reason. Don't assume that someone was sent down was another department. Prevent people from walking the indoors behind you. If necessary, push them to the ground and run away to make sure they don't follow you in. Casually ask them questions that may reveal that they are not employees of the company. And as a example, don't you enjoy working for insert rival company here in order to infiltrate vandally and steal secrets? Okay. That's funny. A little nudge there. Oh, now we have things for Macaron too. Dude, that's fucking sick. Look at that. You guys see that? Dude. Dude, my boy Macaron. This is fucking amazing. Let me buy this because I can, because I want to. She has a fucking love trap. Okay. Getting distracted. What do I have equipped? Oh yeah, I have the parry health thing. I wanted to buy chip slots, so that's like 20k. Let's go with that, yeah?
Need more work to do?
Not really.
Well, if you got time to...
But
So those nodes going down made my drones all go haywire. They got mine.
Wait, are you trying?
Anyway, they're flying around this place. You find all of them and bring them to me.
A reward?
Oh, wait, a side quest. Okay. Where are we supposed to go again? See, I'm like Chai right now. I'm embodying to just go forward and just go to wherever I'm being taken to, but not really listening to what I'm supposed to do.
Do I really have to do this?
Please do not forget, you will be mind controlled, not us.
Perspective, little guy. We take Corsica's password, and we're halfway there.
3 more Vandalay bosses means 3 passwords. Then we can turn off Spectra.
3 plus 3 is 6, Peppermints. I can do math. I'm not dumb.
Despite the confusing directions, all security lasers, though they do not turn on,
Figures there'd be security and security.
Uh-huh. Ding. Any more? Oh. Okay.
Security detail. Protect bosses at all costs.
Damn, alright. Oh. Oh, that is quite hard to parry.
Let me out.
Whoa.
You got this, Mac.
No problem, guy.
Not looking good.
Dude, that's so fucking hard. Give me a second. That was a lot than I expected. I mean, I can, but okay, I can see what you mean, but you can't parry. I have to redo this from the beginning. Yep, okay. Drink water, thank you. I shall drink water as my chat insists me to. Apparently, you want me to drink water. What absurd. I'm in the middle of my gaming. And outside. I drink my water. Okay, let's try a different approach.
Figures there'd be security and
Try and
security.
parry more. Wow. Okay. Sippy. We insist. Okay.
Security detail. Protect bosses at all costs.
Try this out.
Oh, okay. I missed the button. God. So hard to parry.
Peppermint, come on.
Be a lot more careful.
Try this out.
Need help?
Okay, focus. Dude, that is hard. What the fuck? Ah, some gears over here. Okay, it's nice that you can go back. Because right now I'm a bit struggling. Okay, I can go back as much as this far, but that's about it. Okay, chat, I think I am stuck here. But I can do it.
Figures there'd be security and security.
Already. I need all the help to fight the fucking samurai guy. You want tip on that?
Security
No thanks. I can do it.
protect bosses at all costs.
If I...
Peppermint.
Ah. Dude. Ah. Dude. Like, I get it. It's like, damn. Ah, this is hard.
Figures there'd be security and security.
Security. Alright. Okay. What? He's still alive? This game wants you to parry by adding this spirit. What?
Security detail. Protect bosses at all costs.
Your turn, Peppermint. Light him up.
I'm just taking more damage than I should. Okay, I have to do this. Ah! No way! I screwed that up. Oh my god. He actually died. Oh my god, he actually died. Okay. Oh my god, okay. That didn't take too long. I thought it would take longer than I wanted.
So, these are the notes?
Looks like they're out of sync.
I can probably lock their data streams in place with my blaster when the spheres open up.
What? Okay.
Your turn, Peppermint.
Come on!
Bingo. Should be another one.
Hey. That took a few tries, but I did it. Dun, dun, dun.
Go get him, Chai!
Here we go.
Try this out!
Went too far.
Light him up!
Here we go.
Need help?
I could probably knock that last one in here.
Ooh. No tip required. Exactly. I don't really like being backseated as much unless I ask for it, so most of the time. Wait, I forgot my buttons. Give me a second. I forgot where the A, X, Y, B are. So. Okay, there we go.
I did it!
Really? You got everything connected?
But of course I couldn't have done it without you.
Just get back to the main room. There are still 2 more nodes to activate.
Where am I supposed to go from here? Ah, I can just stop down. Oh, then again, I always like ask hypothetical, not hypothetical questions, huh? Where I just like ask, but I don't really. But I don't really mean it. My bad. Hello again, my dear friend.
Ah, the lasers do in fact work. However, they've been destroyed. Is this my failure?
Yes. No, it's not your failure. It was my doing. You know, I needed to get through and destroy them.
Back at ya!
I love doing that. So fun.
Looks like you jump-started your first node. Should be able to get to the other 2 now.
2
Awesome.
routes? Take your pick, little guy.
Ooh, okay.
I set up some guides to the nodes, but man, all these platforms look the same. Whoever designed this place is getting a piece of my mind.
What does that mean? Well, a piece of my mind? Like you're going insane? Heard something. Maybe that was just me.
Oh, jeez. They did not mention Z-shielding. No way I am getting these supplies up to the node. I am so fired.
Don't worry, buddy. I got this
Tell
for
all
you.
of my slaves.
I never like that timing is kind of hard for me. I have to like think about it. Well, I can't go here obviously. So wait, I can break this. Breaking everything. I need 20k to buy chip. No, 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 you're not supposed to go up there. Careful, guy. Alright. Why are they here? Hello? Wrong person. Hey. Let's go. Alright, let's see. Piece of mind usually means to give them a talk. Oh. Okay, so he angry at them. Alright. That makes more sense. Am I supposed to go here? Oh. Maybe? Not yet. Let's go back a bit. Hi, Lai. How you doing? Hi, Robot Chicken. How you doing, buddy? I am currently playing Hi-Fi Rush. It's a really fun and interesting rhythm game in a sense. But yeah, how you doing, buddy? It's been a while. Or has it? I think I've seen you a few times, like from the chat. I'm not quite sure. Hello, you're just there, little buddy robot. Can I punch you? Oh, I can. Hold on, I'm sorry, I need to bully you. I'm sorry, I need to bully you.
Gonna roll up my slaves.
Macaroon! Sock 'em!
Let me at them.
Okay. Ooh, what's this? Okay, it's just an extra area. Epic. I get free upgrades. I think it's best if I just invest my gears in like chips. From what I'm seeing at least, you know? I don't need to buy moves because most of the times I don't really use all of them. The XYY. YXX. Yeah, well, airborne, see, I rarely do any of these. So, why you bully sucking? Well, you see, I need the gears for upgrades. So, I'm bullying the poor robot. Oh yeah, Art, how you doing, man? Wow, what you been doing as well? So I'm not on 20k yet, I'm 11, so it's like, well, we're halfway there, more or less. Oh, of course we're gonna fight. Ooh, interesting. A bee.
Let's go!
Just when you're watching a lecture, so now I'm just chilling in bed. Ah, okay.
All eyes on.
Wait a minute, they fucking gave me this?
Time.
Give me 2 of these fuckers.
Here we go!
Time. Gonna roll up my slaves.
That's not what I meant to do.
Let me at them.
Cover me! Okay.
Try this out.
I need to kill one of them. Oh my god. Okay.
Looks like it'll counter any attack now.
Counter any
You can
attack.
parry its counterattack. Should give you the upper hand.
Why didn't they talk about it earlier? Like they didn't speak of like parrying its attack like when I fight this guy earlier. What's up with that? Okay, now I have to parry this guy again. Oh, this is the most difficult. No fucking way. Okay, but at least I can do that, so I'm not too upset. It's a B. Better than nothing. Which way am I supposed to go?
Get him, Macaron!
Gotta roll up my sleeves.
Oh my god! I just realized the cat changes color depending on who you have on there. Ah, I fell. I fell. Are you kidding me? Depending on like who you have on your like top left. Okay, that's like an interesting detail. I don't think I can do anything here. Not that I know of, at least. Okay, maybe I need to go the other way. Oh my god, that timing, but I fucked it up. Okay. Okay. Come on, focus. Dude. Please don't do that. This is peak gaming, guys. Peak gaming. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna wait for it. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna go over here because I don't know if I can do anything on the other side. Thing is, okay. Alright, let's grab some gears over here. Hello, buddy. I realize you have gears, so I have to kill you. If you let me. Went under. Okay, fine.
Man, I'm so confused on how I even got here. How am I gonna get back? Gotta keep up that map before I forget.
Wait a minute, I like how he drew a map right here. Okay, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go, but I'm just exploring. Alright, I was going exploring and then we read another note. Regarding Wing 1, I hear you loud and clear. The layout leaves a bit to desire. At this point, we're doing the layout, keeping all our facility intact, working with increase in efficiency, of course, scrapping and okay. Well, obviously, I think we're supposed to go over here.
Peppermint, come on!
You called?
Oh, no down, no down!
They don't look too heavy. I should be able to get it back in place.
They don't look too heavy. Damn, this man's
Try this
is
out!
Ready for
strong.
this?
And I'm not close enough, I don't think. What? I had to be in a specific place? He just does that. been debating getting Hi-Fi Iron. Would you recommend it? I think if you're good at the rhythm games or like timing, personally, I think you should get it. Because though this is a fun game, I would recommend it to everyone. But like, if you suck at timing, maybe you can just like lower the difficulty. Why is my health so low? Okay, I had to kill that guy, unfortunately. Because like in the later game, you don't really need to be good at rhythm. Yeah, you don't need to. Okay, in the later game, like earlier, you see me struggle with the parry, and I'm just like, I don't think everyone's gonna have much fun with that. I mean, you can tone down the difficulty, I suppose, but to be honest, this game, great animation, and like the gameplay itself feels great. Because like everything goes on beat. Everything you see on the screen, it goes on beat. So yeah, it just feels very satisfying, and like you don't have to be on beat to attack. It does give you more bonus if you do, but like it'll still hit on a what do you call it? It'll still hit on, you know, on beat. There, that's the word. Oh. Wait. You know I'm supposed to go up here, right? Or am I not? I'm sorry, I have to bully him. I mean, I don't think I have to bully him, actually. I don't know where to go when over here. Like, what's that?
Wait, these are comics.
Some sort of visual schematic?
No, like actual comic books. Well, if this is what he wants.
Oh. Ah, I'm getting back to Spain though. Where am I supposed to go from here? Be a real chat, like, am I supposed to go here? Like, it's not coming out, you know. I see like there's gonna be a platform there, but I don't think I'm supposed to progress here yet. Oh, I'm not supposed to talk to him. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm supposed to go over here. Maybe. Maybe? Can I even go back down? Oh, I can. Never mind. Where am I supposed to go? Do I have to go back and then the other side? That seems a bit inefficient. No. Okay, there was a map. I should look at it. Okay. Okay, don't tell me what to do, chat. I got this. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Totally got this. Never mind, I don't. Okay, you know what? Fine. Am I supposed to go the other way? I'm not quite sure. I worry about your sense of direction. Don't worry about it. Where are you right now? Hey, what's this? Like what? Like how am I supposed to read this? Let's be real, right? Okay, so now we're right here. So I just go back? Is that it? Okay, hold on. No, chat. Don't tell me what to do. I do not get lost at the supermarket. You guys are underestimating me. This stupid map is confusing, okay? I haven't gone there. I don't think. I got this, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, I got this. Wait. Do I lose health when I die? Oh wait, what's this? Hey, I think you're hiding from me, huh? Okay. Now that's out of the way. That's not what was supposed to happen. I mean, what am I gonna do when I get back anyway? I talked to the guy about a comic book. Look, I don't even have all the comic books. I don't think I need to go back this far. Right? I'm not that stupid, chat. If there was a sign on where to go next, that would be nice. Like, I'm just gonna be real with you, chat. Like, how am I supposed to know which one's which on this one? Like, is this where we are, or is this the X that we're supposed to go? Like, what's up with that? And then, like, are we supposed to go in the next room? Where? Like, over here? Like, I went here already. Do I lose health when I do lose health. Okay, that explains. This is... Don't look at me. Why did I jump there? Oh, you guys are implying I'm stupid.
Oh, no.
Okay. Whatever. Why did I spawn here? Am I supposed to go the other way? Okay. Whatever, I'm going back up here. Never mind, what am I supposed to do with that? Okay.
Help him in!
I feel like I already did this already. Did I not?
Oh, no down, no down!
They don't look too heavy. I should be able to get it back in
Yeah,
place.
but that's stupid. I thought I already did this part. I guess because I died. Okay, does that mean I lost all the comic book progressions? No, I did not. I don't think so.
Man, I'm so got it.
See, even he's confused about where the fuck you're supposed to go. Did you lose progression? Well, I keep falling, so. That's interesting. That's a different one.
They locked us in?
Looks like there's a route out near the main
What?
data stream.
Check it out, Chai. We still need to turn on the other data node.
Okay.
Let's hope this gets me back to the main chamber.
Caution. Sudden drop. Infestation protection do not touch. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, I just get hit all the time.
A lot of security for an air duct.
Reports all rats. Like, what, they have a thing against rats. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Huh? Dude, what? I swear to god, I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm just trying to jump. Dude, this is not funny. I think I just need to jump once. Okay, I just need to jump once. Laser timing reminder. Erase after installation. What the fuck? Dude, it... Whatever. I just powered through it, whatever. It's fine. Okay. Hello.
Oh, wow. Did you fix the node? You saved my job. Thank you.
Still got another node to go. Make sure to put in a good word.
Wait, what's this? Okay, I can't hit it. That's wrong guy, wrong guy.
Peppermint, come on!
Go get him, Chai.
Alright. Just passing along some info here. Okay, I'm not gonna read that. Hello, my guy.
See this route? How am I even supposed to get up there?
Don't worry. There's plenty of ways to get up there. Ooh, hello. You know, chat. This is. It's fun to see me fail, isn't it? Huh? I'm joking, by the way. If that doesn't, wasn't clear enough. Okay. Done, right? That's done. Alright. A B? Only a B? Crazy. I got a B because I'm that bitch. Get it? Haha. That's not funny, Peanut. I know.
You know, I don't think Corsica's like the other bosses.
Meaning...
She's less insane. Also, she seemed genuinely surprised when I said Spectra is an AI built for mind control.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
She didn't immediately try to kill you. Unusual compared to the other bosses.
I don't see why they'd keep the head of security in the dark about Spectra. Not unless management doesn't trust her.
We can get her on our side is where you're fine. Goodbye, buddy. I'm sorry. It had to be this way. I'm ending your life. For my own personal gains. That is very mean. Okay, I'll stop hitting them. But they're just everywhere.
Need help? Come on!
Peppermint, your turn.
Go get him, Chai.
What?
Peppermint.
Let's go!
Dun, dun, dun. There we go.
Laser's blocked.
I got that one.
I mean, we're almost at 20k. Let me hit you, buddy. I don't think that's a lot. Yeah, that doesn't even give me a lot. Maybe I should stop doing that. Peanut destroy a sucking robot. You know, you could have given them a better name, but you didn't. You could have said innocent robots, but you chose sucking. Is that what you refer to, what do you call it? The thing that cleans... what the fuck is that called? Vacuum cleaner? You call a vacuum cleaner a sucky suck? Is that it? Why?
Here we go.
You guys, no. It's not called a suck, okay?
Peppermint.
It's
come on.
called
come on.
a vacuum cleaner, obviously. Oh, I need to press on it. It made me lose focus. Oh my fucking god. What? Come on. Okay, hold on. I'm doing it too early. What? Oh, I pressed B instead of A. That's stupid. That was too early. Oh my god. Wow, stop! Stop doing it. It's too early. Please, focus. Dude. My brain. Press the wrong button again. And I was dead too early. That was the last one. Come on. Okay, there we go. That was a really weird beat.
There we go.
That's it, Chai. All nodes activated. Just get back to our buddy downstairs.
You know, I didn't get all the secrets. Down. Okay. Of course. Oh, what is this? Okay, I didn't know it does that. That's mean. Okay, let's get the flying ones first.
This will be easy.
Ty, this is not gonna be easy. Can't fucking see. Oh god. I mean, I think it's better if I get this fucking guy out. Dude. I need to get rid of this guy. This samurai is in the fucking way. Okay, there we go. God, that took way longer than it should have. Where am I supposed to go? Down? Okay. Wait! No! Let me go up again! I saw something. I saw a statue up. Can I even go back? Not that I know of.
Just like I said, these things work themselves out. Now I can get some sleep.
Yeah, I did all the work there, buddy. I didn't get all the comic books
Wow,
either.
you actually did it.
You sound surprised.
Well, I mean, how much can you really trust a human?
What? I'm the most trustworthy guy ever. Look at this face.
Yeah, nah. Why'd they even let you into Armstrong anyway? You look like one of those hipsters.
Hipsters?
It's the pants.
For the record, I'm
pants?
offended. But for now, I'll just leave.
Don't see why not. Central elevator's working, so you can access the lift out.
What a nice robot friend you made there.
What? No, he made fun of my pants.
Who cares? Ugh, we're finished here. Ride the elevator down and we'll take the lift to Corsica's way.
I, for one, Mr. Chai, like your pants.
Okay,
You're
okay.
tiny, but thank you, Cinnamon.
Can we upgrade, guys? Macron's Aftershock. Okay. I can buy an additional chip slot. So let's get that. In addition, this inventory combo item pull this in. Successful. Let's see what to get. Remove ability to pull an item far away. It's background charging time. Increase attack distance. Let's get. Oh, I don't have enough money for it. I don't think you're ever stun lock me like this before. Wait, what did I do? Oh, oh. Okay. I like looking at it. Let's go. Where's the lift? The wrong guy. I think we go here. Wait. Yeah, okay. Ow. But ooh. Oh. Just goes down there, okay. We're gonna fight, aren't we? There we go.
Unauthorized entry detected.
It's never easy.
It never has been.
Let's go!
No, Chai. What the fuck? Okay, there we go.
Light him up!
Hey!
Need help?
It's alive? Okay. Oh god. Ooh, okay.
Let's try to attack together and maybe we can ground that thing.
What the fuck?
You got this back. Hold on,
Perhaps using your magnet when its claws are yellow is a bad time.
Go get him, guy.
Oh god. One of these, okay. Okay. Got it. First try, baby. Let's go. Ooh.
Dunzo.
Dunzo
That was
indeed.
a fun ride. I wonder what's next.
Please nothing more than that. Are we gonna get more of the birds? Because that would be annoying. Gotta see. Okay, we're not doing our best this run, but that's fine.
Lift should be just ahead.
And we're one step closer to Corsica.
That went pretty well up there. You breaking me out, working together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do, little guy. We're a team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I can buy anything as of right now. But... Okay, I can only put 2 chips at a time. And I can't upgrade that. Wow, that takes up a lot actually. Whatever it was that you said before. Oh, you know, chat, I'm just gonna be honest, sometimes I don't remember what I've said, so don't expect me to remember. Sometimes I say the random
Somehow
shit.
the defect who I thought we secured got away. What the hell? Not only that, he helped fix our security system. I should be angry, but let's just say my feelings right now are mixed. Yeah, mixed.
Okay, yeah, I'd be mixed too.
I'll take it.
In other words, APB on the kid. See him, call it in.
Yeah, I fixed your security, lady, but are you really gonna put me in jail again? Oh, is this little fella?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Watch out, Chai. They're ready to ambush you on the lift.
Oh, these guys are like the dude upstairs. They don't know me. See? Sup, fellow Vandalay employees? Catching the lift?
Yep. Security room 2, just as
There's the
always.
defect. Stop him!
Nah, this is the guy that fixed the security system, man.
Idiot! That's the defect!
The little heart. Oh, okay. We're getting an animation.
Get him!
Dude. Oh shit, look at that.
Sorry!
Mind if I join?
Oh, look at her go! Macaron! Let's go! Punch him! Yeah! Fuck him! Oh, sorry. Might be too brutal.
Hey!
Sorry, mate.
It's a team effort.
Let's get this rolling.
Anytime now.
Hold them off. Next up, Corsica's wing. Expect the worst.
Dude, I fucking love that. No, not the the security, not the guy, not the mechanics. Ooh, okay. Are we gonna expect more enemies to just
Wind in my hair.
come in?
This is actually refreshing.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying this.
There's no way, there's no fight scene. Okay, there we go.
Maybe you're wrong for once, Peppermint. Might be smooth riding. Whoa.
Here they come.
All right.
Come on.
Need help?
Oh.
More coming your way.
What? Oh god, there's so many. Yeah, all right. Oh god. Dude, I keep missing all these fairies. Grabbing all the healing. Don't worry, guys, because like the enemies also drop healing. You know.
Due to construction, oncoming debris is expected to get irresponsibly close to the lift.
Seriously?
What?
Accidents may result in injuries not covered by our company insurance.
Wait, excuse me? Yeah, okay. Alright, here's their little gimmicky level of the game. Okay, luckily there I don't need to move too much. Oh, okay. Now I'm literally just standing in one spot. Not moving an inch.
Great job, little guy.
Wow, wow, that was great, great. Great gameplay, guys. I literally did nothing. Oh.
Here come reinforcements.
Long range.
Yeah, there are none.
Just let me at him.
Peppermint.
More of them coming.
Your turn, Peppermint.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Try this out.
Exploding things. Incoming.
Pro tip, dodge.
Dodge what? Are you...
Let's go.
It's kind of hard to dodge when I'm also trying to fight here. Okay, now you're on here. Oh god. fuck? That's new. Alright. I think this is fine, right?
I'm enjoying the ride, but this is one long tunnel.
That's what I'm
Wing
saying.
1 and 2 would be right next to each other, huh?
More construction ahead. Mind the debris. Thank you.
Alright. Okay, thank you.
What are they even constructing?
I have no idea, bro. Oh god. Oh, ow. Okay, there. I actually have to move this time. I think. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god, okay.
Okay. Hopefully no more of that.
Hopefully not. Alert. Okay, thank you for the alert. Alright. Please.
Is the kid still on the left? Oh, come on, guys. Get it together. Put the brakes on that thing.
Please don't.
Whoa!
They really are gonna do that, huh?
Gotta get those brakes off.
Quarter time. Let me have a go.
Yeah, I know.
Try this out.
Now here's the old one, too.
Back the road.
Hold. Oh, got it.
Okay, it's only one of them. Ah, there's gonna be another fight. Why?
Go get him, Jive.
More brakes?
They're really pulling out all the stops.
Okay, that's the only pun you get for this mission.
Back the road. Stock 'em.
Let me out. Another one down.
Power forward. Get up.
All eyes on it.
Okay, alright, fine.
Get up.
Come on! Macaron, 2 final breaks!
Let me at it.
Oh god. Back around, just do these. Back around, just do this, these thing.
Putting your skills to good use, Sir Macaron.
Last one left.
Okay. Not there, buddy. Not there, buddy.
No problem, guy.
One more.
Quarter time.
Okay.
Can't stop us now.
Wow, they all just died because I did the no longer work. Oh, gaming. Hello, Lana.
Now
I
arriving
am
at
gaming.
Security Wing 2.
Ooh. Okay, fine. You tired yet, Chai?
So I was thinking, yeah, with no brakes, how we stop it?
Oh.
Peppermint. Any ideas?
Oh, now you want my help.
Sometimes it's as simple as getting a
Chai,
bazooka.
a little space here?
Yep, okay.
Don't worry, you got this. But just in case, you might want to hold on to something. See ya.
What?
No! The cat! The cat! I mean, the cat can fly, but like...
Don't worry! I got this!
Lifter's running a bit late.
I'm sure they'll be here.
Huh.
Huh. Don't shake the kitty. Yeah, exactly. Don't shake the kitty.
You've now arrived at Wing 2.
Whoa, that thing's all broken up.
That was a smooth ride.
It sure is. Okay. That whole level was a fucking stage. Look at this. Fucking, I got an A, which is not bad, to be honest. It makes sense, I guess. It was a pretty long stage. Not gonna lie to you.
2. And it looks like they locked me out.
And we have to
Obviously.
force our way in. See anything?
Construction. There might be another way. Oh, no one will see me coming as I sneak
Yep, okay.
into this trap.
Ooh,
We're allowed, it seems.
I was hoping for a cutscene, so I don't have to. That's
Try this out.
No problem, guys.
there's all.
Try.
God, that's a lot. Ah.
Well, safe to say they know you're here.
Please, Mr. Chai is under great pressure. Best not to apply anymore.
You got this, Chai. Check out construction for a back door.
Positive reinforcement.
Ah, it is positive reinforcement. Chai turned to New York subway. Dude, is New York subway that bad? I mean, I've heard stories, but goddamn. Note from Pacer to construction queue. Lots of questioning about construction and what for, so I'll just say we got a budget and if we don't use it, we lose it. So, Wing 2 platform construction is officially to change to a light bolt above the lift platform. I heard there's a crack in the wall leading to Wing 2, but we'll just paint it over for now. Save it for the next quarter. Ah, okay. So, kinda know where to go now. Hey, buddy. Think you can hide from me? Anything more down here? I don't think there's more. Alright, go up now. Oh, I'm not supposed to go here, I think. There was a stop sign. Obviously, I'm not supposed to. I'm just kidding. Okay, I think I'm supposed to go here, but there's definitely something over here, right? It's just just some gears, nothing else. Yummy. alley-oop, and then we just head over here. So anyways,
Corsica here. Well, we do have more pressing matters. Might there be anyone here who knows how to fix the coffee machine? It's only giving out decaf, and with this amount of documentation I need to get through... What? Firmware update? Why does the coffee machine need a firmware?
What's more important than catching me?
Maybe our planted seed about Spectra worked?
No way to know for now. Keep moving.
ooh, what's this? Corsica likes coffee, I see. Ah, that's just another way to get there. Okay. Well, why would a coffee machine have a software update or firmware update, whatever that is? What is that? Do you know? Oh, I missed the platform. You guys know that? Now I was gonna talk about subways. So we have, I don't know, but we have a subway system. Subway means like train underground, right? If that's the case, then yes, we do have a subway system in my country. And you know what? Our trains is just so much better. It's very great. And to be honest, I think with a few more development throughout the years, you know, more investment in public transport, I think our public transport would be really great. But for now, that is not the case, unfortunately. So we must live with what we have, which is like, you know, in this day and age, it would. You know what? You're not too far off, I guess.
Come on,
I mean, if you have one of those coffee machines where you just like, oh, you fucker. If you have one of those coffee machines where you don't really know how to make coffee and then you just put like a pot inside it, then maybe. That's not what I'm supposed to do. What the fuck? And I have to start all over? I pressed the wrong button once and then... Okay, hold on, focus. I'll just wait until this goes away. I meant to press the fucking grapple code, but I missed. I wanna try running the subway. No, dude, I did it again. Like, what's up with that? There you go.
Try this out.
Ready for this?
Oh, I'm too...
Back around.
No problem, little guy. Here's your ticket in.
Ooh, yes, please.
Mission report. Just go up.
Up?
Up.
That's it?
Looks like Corsica's in her office and it's on the top floor. Hence, up.
There's gotta be a catch.
Oh, there is. But it's not about your route.
Okay. The fridge are connected to the internet, so there is somewhere out there fridge with software. Yes.
You can't just strong arm Corsica to get her password like the other bosses.
Says who?
Corsica isn't outfitted with Vandalay tech. There's no pass key. She memorizes her passwords.
You'll need to get her to cooperate with us.
What? How am I supposed to do that?
Persuasiveness is indeed not one of Mr. Chai's strong suits.
You know?
Cinnamon's right. But we need her password to shut down Spectra. Let's brainstorm here.
You know what? Remembering your password so it doesn't get like obtained by potential enemies or stuff like that, I guess in a way is smart. But also kind of dumb. What if you forget about it? But considering the character that Corsica is, I don't think she'll forget it just like that, you know? She is also kind of changes her password all the time. Ah! Talk about internet safety, am I right, fellas? See, this is how you're supposed to be. If you're like really overly, you know, protective. Shit, I guess. Increase times in beat of combo duration. Increase length of... With this chip, you can lengthen the time before the combo ends, so you can keep your combo going with a longer break between attacks. Increase addition item pool more perform. You know, I feel like since I keep fucking up, I kind of just wanna buy upgrades for chips. And then I can't buy any of these. So I need like 40k for another chip installment. So we can do that. Oh. Wow, she takes her job seriously then, huh? Very cool of her. 5 boxes. Ah, they're not there anymore. Oh, never mind. You need help?
I told you not to fool around when working. It don't look like it from here.
Oh, I put my blanket away. It's kind of cold, Chad. But I keep going. I mean, like, I kind of prefer if I could be able to. Give me a second, Chad. I'm gonna be AFK for a moment. Okay, there we go. Blinky. Yeah, Blinky. Ah. You know, I think I'd prefer if I finish the level, the Corsica level, I suppose. Zip it. Keep our secret safe. Would you guys change your password every day? Or would you use the same password? I'm the type of person that... Wait, where's my camera going? It's mandatory. I mean, considering the line of work that she is, yes, but I'm asking if you guys would do it. You know. Yeah, I have the patience to change password every day, but if we keep the code simple, then maybe changing your password every day wouldn't be hard. I mean, like, if it's your job to change your password every day, I think you don't have much of a choice. Okay.
Cutting off elevator access.
Oh.
Going up is very up. And I just lost the quick way.
Ah, the chai I know wouldn't let that stop him.
Macaron, you've known me for like 5 hours.
Send any security available to capture him, or at least stall him. I need quiet time right now.
Your turn, Peppermint! Come on!
Alright.
Peppermint! Your turn! Go!
That's so cute. Oh, there's more.
Let's go. Try this out.
Okay. I write everything down like a note taker. I do change them in work. I don't really change them for. Oh, okay, interesting. Most of my password is saved on my Google account, you know, like one of those things. But for my Gmail, I save it on a note because I don't trust it, putting it somewhere on the internet.
Cinnamon, give me the rundown on Corsica.
Cinnamon.
Let's see. Hardworking, demanding, lack of humor. All the perfect qualities of a boss.
However, she just joined Vandalay 6 months ago.
It did seem like she's been trying to prove herself to Kale since we ran into her.
That's pretty insecure for head of security.
Hey, a joke from Peppermint. Wherefore?
Get it? Insecure for head of security. You would think they would be feeling secure about themselves, but they do not. Haha. Okay, I did not read to repeat the joke. I think you guys get it.
Notice to all security employees, I removed access from elevators temporarily. Please make use of the stairs. It is a healthy alternative.
Most of your employees are robots, so does that really matter in Corsica? You know? I don't know where am I supposed to go? Yes, Peppermint.
Got eyes on.
Ooh, okay. This is just an extra room. Yoink. Hello, buddy.
Trying to concentrate? If you find that guitar toting defect, let me know.
Sure thing, buddy. I'll let you know. First guy to let you know. You know what, chat? Oh, what is this? Oh my god. I hate this. Oh my god, okay, again. I'm gonna die if I miss this. Yep, there we go. Alright, I can do this. It's a... Oh. I died in game 2. I... Sucks. I hate this. What did I do? Na, 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 so easily I fall in love. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Why, oh why? Is it like this? VPN, nope. Oh, dude. I'm assuming it says I'm not live right now. Am I still live or is it just dying? 9:49. Okay, that was like 2 hours ago. Am I back? Okay, I think I should be back. I think I am back? Question mark. Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, you guys didn't miss much. I just died. So, there is that. Tomorrow I don't have stream, but I do have karaoke stream on the next day. So, yeah. I don't know why my bitrate like this. What is wrong with my internet? It's being poo-poo doo-doo for no absolute reason. Okay. Dude, what the fuck? Dude, just like the hop.
Need help?
The fighting on that. Okay. Oh. Okay. They went a lot better than I expected, I guess. Hello, little robot guy. Please don't let me fight again. Wait, am I going the right way? Yes.
Here we go. Ready for this?
Sorry.
Macaroon. Let me out there.
Alright. Supposed to go here, but some health back over here. Dang. Okay, it's fucking dead now. We beat him to dust. Can't believe this. It's absolutely completely annihilated. Hey. Alright.
Man, how am I gonna get myself out of here?
No clue, buddy. I'm so sorry you're stuck there. I wish I could help, but I don't think the game is letting me. Oh. Hold on, there's some stuff over here. Ah, come on. hey, it's these guys
Look
again.
at this. Zonzo's out of stock and Roquefort's piling up. I tell ya, you want equality, start with the drinks. We all know the world's stacked against us. But sometimes we need a drink to forget. I'm talking about these drinks. Shows who's in charge. Becomes a goal. Last thing we want is some of us thinking we don't have a shot.
Okay.
Even though we know we don't. We want to pretend.
That's true.
Like I have to pretend. Like I care about these cases. Like I care about our workers. But I'm just trying to make ends meet. Just lay down at the end of the day without a cloud over my head. You taking notes on this, bud?
I will contact the supply chain.
Do it like we're supposed to, not like we want to. This world's stone cold, bud. Better drink something warm.
Okay, buddy. Okay, alright, we got everything. Ahoo! Pew! Let's go.
Security notes.
Your specialty, Miss Peppermint. You must be so excited.
Very.
Ooh, okay, I got that. I was scared that I wouldn't. Ooh, that's attack, that's sick. Ooh. Ah, okay. It's an elevator. Ooh, there's a chip over here. Can't fucking see. I mean, if I really wanted to, I can just do that. Let's not bother with it. Oh.
Alright, gotta keep moving.
You gotta keep moving.
Oh man, whose idea was it to build a totally vertical security building? I gotta say, don't feel so motivated to get back to work right now.
I mean, if it goes vertically, I guess no one really wants to go up, huh? Because it takes a lot, you know. Of course we're gonna fight these winners.
Here we go. Let me have it. No problem, guy.
None of them fucking.
Here we go. Ready for this?
Dude, fuck off. Finally. Aww.
Bad guys.
Oh, fuck.
Let me out here. Ready for this?
Okay. I'm good. I'm just better. Look at that. Beautifully.
Okay, plan time. How am I getting that password?
You're still thinking?
Think better? We're running out of time.
Well, I don't see you contributing.
Miss Peppermint, please don't confuse Mr. Chai by implying that he is the brains behind the mission.
Exactly. Wait,
Oh, Peppermint. Corsica's in her office, right? See if you can mirror her screen, and we can catch her using her password.
better than nothing. Try that.
Let them cook. You know, I like how Cinnamon is flying pizza. Wait, where are we supposed to go? Oh, from here, right? Earlier? Okay. Just making sure. Ooh, what's this? Nom 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 nom. Secret, I see. Well, I can't resist a secret path. Hey, I am rewarded with chips. Something over there. I wonder if I can get there. Well, I fell. This is not where I'm supposed to go. Go on, take the stairs. Come on, buddy.